Hi guys, Tyler here. So I just wanted to apologize first off for not getting this video out until a day late. Right now I'm kind of working on making my videos better and just changing how exactly how I film and edit them. So look forward to that hopefully within the next week or so. Um, so today I don't have as I don't have something new, so to speak, in terms of albums. I haven't gone out and listened to a new album or something for you guys. So I want to talk to you about one of my favorite albums, just of all time. And so the album is With Oden on Our Side, and it's by a Monomarth. I'm actually wearing a Monomarth hat right now because my hair looks terrible. And I remember when I first heard Amon Amarth, it was years and years ago, and I heard one of their songs, and I was like, oh wow, this is really cool, and I started listening to their music more. And that was right around, I think it was 2008 or 9, when their album Twilight of the Thunder God came out. Right around that time is when I started listening to them. And I got that album for Christmas or something as a gift, or I bought it for myself, and I really enjoyed it, but I started listening to more of their music, and I think the second album I ever got from them was With Oden on Our Side, and it absolutely blew me away. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Amon Amarth, they're one of my favorite bands, and I think they've actually been, some of their more recent albums have been excellent. Their most recent album is Deceiver of the Gods is one of my favorite of their albums. It's fantastic. But With Oden on Their Side remains my absolute favorite of their albums. And I'm going to tell you why. And it's a multi-part thing. So first, the musical aspect. Just unbelievable. The riffs are driving and powerful when they need to be, melodic and, I don't want to say laid back, but very melodic and flowing when they have to be in other places. Um, the music itself does a really excellent job of setting the scene and also really pulling you in and really driving. I'll admit, the title track With Odin on Our Side and the first track on the album, Valhalla, Valhalla Waits. Oh my gosh, that's not even a song. Anyways, the first track on the album, um, I run to those songs all the time because they are so upbeat and up tempo and just very just aggressive and in your face. And I love that about them, and that's one of my favorite things about those songs. But you've also got very melodic songs like Cry of the Blackbirds, it's on the same album, which is just this dark, brooding kind of just like slap compared to some of the other tracks on the album. So that's the first level, music. Musically fantastic. The guitars are tight, they sound excellent, the drumming is just right on point, really excellent, great, and of course Johann's vocals are just fantastic as always. Then you've got the theming. And this is actually has always been one of my favorite parts about Amon Amarth's music. So I'm a big fan of Norse mythology. I find it very interesting from an intellectual standpoint, a lot of the different myths and how kind of a tragedy it is that we're actually missing many of those myths. We found many that are incomplete, and we know for a fact that there are more because they're referenced in some of the other works, but we just don't have them. But I love what Amon Amarth does with those myths to make them seem real, make them seem pressing and important. Because they don't just necessarily do a rehash of the myths, which other bands do sometimes, and I'll admit Amon Amarth does too, but they take them and they put them into a context where those myths would make sense to be appearing, and it really does a great job of putting you in that mindset of someone who would have been alive at that time, who would have been, those myths would have been their reality. And I think that's a really cool way of going about it. Especially, I think the perfect example is with Odin on Our Side. It's the story of a small group of Viking warriors up against a larger army, a greater foe, but prevailing because they have Odin on their side. I think it's really cool how they do that throughout, as well as referencing explicitly some of the myths. And as someone who's done a lot of reading on the subject, it's nice to see that they actually do a good job of maintaining accuracy in their lyrics, their songs. So that's the second level. And I think the third is just kind of the whole package coming together, the imagery of it all. And it's so striking, Some of their other album artwork is very stylized. You know, you've got the big beefy men with the swords and with the hammers and all this stuff. But honestly, the With Odin on Our Side artwork is my favorite. It's actually based on I believe, on an older petroglyph of Odin riding on his eight-legged horse Sleipnir. And I really, really like that. I like it's just clean, simple. It's usually just like two colors, black and then usually gold for the rider and the horse. And I think it just looks really cool. And I think that travels throughout the whole thing. It just kind of comes together as just one package. And whenever I see them perform those songs on stage, I'm always struck by the precision and I guess kind of showmanship they bring. You know, I one of the tracks on the album, Asator, I had the privilege to see them perform it live, and Johan was joking about how the movie Thor had just come out in theaters the day before or something, and he was joking about how, you know, everyone's watching him on the big screen while we're going to play a song about him, you know, on this stage. And I thought it was really cool, and I think that's something that is all throughout Amon Amarth's music, but it is very in evidence on this album in particular. So this is going to be my first review where I actually give like a out of 10 score. I would honestly give this album probably an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. I would say 9 out of 10, strong 9 out of 10, just because it really is this really excellent package of just this in-your-face music, and it doesn't skimp on the content in terms of lyrics. They never let up in terms of the music. It isn't, but it's also varied. There's a lot of variation in it, and there's a lot of subtle nuances that a lot of people don't like to admit that some metal has. So Amon Amarth's With Odin on Our Side, 9 out of 10. You guys should absolutely listen to it. It's a fantastic album, and I think deserves a lot more credit than it gets. A lot of people say their other albums are better, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But that one is by far my favorite. Alright, well, thanks so much. I hope you guys all have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.